Okay. We're officially doing this now. For years I've watched review channels here doing like movies and TV, but none of them have done this movie, which, let me just start with my experience with this. So, I've seen the, like, Rankin Bass Year Without a Santa Claus. It's maybe one of my favorite of, like, their stop-motion animated movies. I never knew this existed until it suddenly appeared to me one day in a Target. Yeah. This is a weird one. So I'm gonna start with talking about the Rankin Bass Year Without a Santa Claus. Oh yeah. Spoilers from here on out for the stop-motion Year Without a Santa Claus and the live-action Year Without a Santa Claus, though I don't know why I would need to do that. If you know the plot of one, you kind of know the plot of the other one. The Year Without a Santa Claus was a Rankin Bass stop-motion Christmas special that aired in 1974. Santa is sick and his doctor convinces him that nobody cares about Christmas anymore. So Santa decides to just take a vacation this year.
Cover up the shelves. We're staying home.
What?
Mrs. Claus is not having it, so she sends two elves, Jingle and Jangle, to go out into the world to find some Christmas spirit. Upon entering a town called Southtown, they meet a kid named Iggy, who tells them that he doesn't believe in Santa Claus.
You mean you don't care if Santa Claus comes or not? None of you?
Nah. Of course not. It's none of our business.
So, the mission is going great so far. Vixen is taken by the dog catcher because a small reindeer with socks on his antlers looks like a dog. They go to the mayor to try to get Vixen out, and he tells them that he will if they make it snow in Southtown. Santa goes to Southtown to rescue Jingle and Jangle, picks up Vixen, and meets Iggy and his family, where everyone's telling Iggy how they should believe in Santa Claus.
Just believe in Santa Claus, like you believe in love.
I really like the songs in this special, like all of the songs. They are great. Mrs. Claus picks up Jingle Jangle and Iggy, and they go to what is considered the best part of this Christmas special. We are now introduced to the Miser Brothers. These characters became so popular that people not remembering what the special was called would be like, that one with the two Miser Brothers in it. They even got their own sequel to this, A Miser Brothers Christmas, which is a whole nother story for another day.
Then, the world will need a new Santa, and it will be me!
Anyway, Snow Miser says he'll make it snow in Southtown if Heat Miser agrees. And as a compromise, Heat Miser gets control of the North Pole for a day, which is why the polar ice caps are melting. Fun times we're living in. It snows in Southtown, and everyone agrees to give Santa, like, that year off. All of the kids come together to send him presents or send him cards, and Santa gets this one particular card from a little girl that says,
I'll have a blue Christmas without you.
Santa, after reading this letter, realizes that people need him. People do still enjoy Christmas. There is still Christmas spirit. So, back to work, everybody. Christmas is back on. Contrary to the name of the special, there was no Year Without a Santa Claus because
I dreamed unhappy things!
So that is how the original went. How does the live action take that and turn it into a full-length movie?
Boys, Santa Claus will be speaking in 10 minutes.
Santa's in the house, y'all. Where's my Christmas party people at?
Extreme Santa.
Drinking on the job, eh?
Not good.
Oh boy. This movie premiered on NBC on December 11th, 2006. As I said before, I have absolutely no memory of this ever airing. I don't remember it being advertised anywhere, and I am the type of person to watch every day of the 25 Days of Christmas on Freeform, the new name for ABC Family, and just Christmas shows everywhere. Never knew this existed until one day, little old me was walking through the media section of Target. I look down, see a copy of a DVD that says A Year Without a Santa Claus, but has people on it, live people. So we skip over it, we think about it, we mull it over, we think, I should buy that DVD. So I go back, I buy it. That is the only time I've ever seen this DVD sold anywhere. It was the only copy at Target, and not a lot of people know about it, which made me think I was crazy for a long time, thinking I'm the only one who owns a copy of this DVD. So, here's my copy of the DVD. Let's zoom in on that bad boy, huh? Look at that. Ooh! We have John Goodman on the front there with our Heat Miser and Snow Miser. We got Santa and Mrs. Claus on the back. If you saw this movie when it was like showing on TV, or have the DVD, or have even just seen it, please let me know, because I feel like I'm one of 10 people who have seen this movie. It stars John Goodman, Delta Burke, Chris Kattan, and Dylan Minnette, who now stars in the 13 Reasons Why Netflix original, and because I saw this movie before I saw that, all I think about is a small kid named Iggy when I see this kid in that show. And yes, this is the opening credits. I have not edited this in any way. This is how we start the movie. This is also directed by Ron Underwood, who also made the classics Santa Baby 2, Holiday in Handcuffs, and his big film break, The Adventures of Pluto Nash. Yeah, that guy. So before I really run through the plot, I'll point out all the stuff that kind of stays the same from the original to this live-action movie. It's not a lot, so we're starting with that. Santa sees that there's no Christmas cheer, so he doesn't want to deliver toys. The elf doctor confirms Santa's suspicions as Mrs. Claus tries to convince him that there's still Christmas cheer. Jingle and Jangle go to Southtown where Vixen is taken by animal control, and they meet Iggy, who doesn't believe in Santa. The Miser brothers sing their song. Mother Nature is in it. Santa goes to Southtown. It snows in Southtown. That's it. Those are really the only plot points that stay the same from original to this movie. Now we're really gonna get into it. Buckle up. It's a wild ride. We open at a toy expo where Santa and his CEO Sparky are looking at new toys like VR, not Transformers, and prototype Monster High dolls. You can really tell from this opening scene that this whole movie is just dripping with early 2000s feelings, like the music, the clothing, the early 2000s pop culture references. We then see Jingle and Jangle watching TV, which transitions us to Southtown, where Iggy and his dad, the mayor, are putting on a Christmas festival, and where we get poorly fleshed out subplots number 1 and number 2. Dad doesn't have any time for family, and tearing down historical buildings to build them all. Yeah, that second one only happens in one scene, and then the finale. That's it. Back at the North Pole, Santa is done with how capitalist Christmas has become.
I'm not Santa Claus anymore. I'm a toy delivery division of Santa Co. Mama, whatever happened to the spirit of Christmas? Now all anybody cares about are gigabytes, action heroes, accessories. I don't fit in anymore.
And to cheer him up, Mrs. Claus takes him to the forest of plastic trees and painted backgrounds to try to show Santa some Christmas spirit. Santa only sees the corruption of capitalism and decides to quit Christmas.
What I mean is what I said. I'm sick of Christmas.
Yeah, in this one, it's not just a casual vacation for 1 year. Santa just wants to quit Christmas. Just have it over with. Jingle and Jangle fly out to Southtown, but are almost taken down by the Miser Brothers while they sing their songs, which pushes their most memorable part to the first time that we see them. Like, the director knows this is what people came here for, so we're putting it all in at the beginning. In Southtown, Jingle and Jangle lose Vixen, meet up with Iggy, with a weird cameo by the goddess Artemis.
Tried to hide my radiance under these sporty ensembles, but sometimes it just shines through.
And go to the arcade to play some DDR. Meanwhile, Sparky is trying to modernize Christmas and Santa by rescheduling Christmas and changing Santa's suit to...
Extreme Santa. He's a cross between Tony Hawk and Spider-Man. He's ripped, he wears a skin-tight green jumpsuit, and he flies around on a flying snowboard powered by the magic of awesomeness.
And underdeveloped plot number 3, taking over the North Pole to become Santa. To learn where Jingle and Jangle went, Santa and Sparky go to the Miser Brothers, where they are having a boxing match. And it's by now you see where all of the budget went. Clearly Ron Underwood wanted the Miser Brothers segments to be like the best part of the movie because that's pretty much where all of the budget went. You see it in the makeup, you have all of the extras there, you have big sets, effects. It's a lot better in this segment than in some of the other segments of the movie. Fed up with the fighting, Santa calls down Mother Nature, who makes them tell Santa what happened to the elves. In Southtown, Iggy blackmails the animal control guy into giving him Vixen and hides her in his room. The next day, the three are setting up a booth when Vixen runs off and meets up with Santa. And this part is probably like the most charming part of the movie. A lot of this is kind of lackluster, there's jokes being thrown around that don't really land, but this is probably the most heartfelt part of the movie.
Here. You need that a lot more than I do. Legit charity?
Yeah, homeless shelter. Yeah, I'm living there till they finish renovating my mansion.
Here. Merry Christmas.
You know, a lot of the kids from the shelter can't wait for your visit tonight.
This, and talking to Iggy, convinces Santa that there is still Christmas spirit in the world, and promises Iggy that he will bring snow to Southtown. And after stopping by the Miser Brothers to go through the whole snow in Southtown, heat in the North Pole talk that happens in the original, Santa goes back to the North Pole. While he was gone, Sparky has taken the position of Santa and is wearing this. Though the other elves protest, saying that they'll only work for Santa. When he arrives, he announces that Christmas is back on, and fires Sparky. So, that's the end of plot thread number 3. It starts to snow in Southtown as the dad, mayor, is giving his speech. He sees how much fun everyone is having and cancels the mall plan, done with that plot thread, and promises to take the rest of the holiday off. End of that plot thread. Santa and Mrs. Claus fly off on Christmas Eve, and we end with a beach day at the North Pole with Santa relaxing and Sparky as a mariachi pool boy. Freeze frame, the end. Now, if someone told you that there was a live-action Year Without a Santa Claus, I don't think some of these plot threads would be the first thing that comes to mind. It's not so far removed from the source material that you couldn't recognize it as A Year Without a Santa Claus, but it does add a lot of unnecessary plot threads that don't really go anywhere and aren't really explored. The subplot with Sparky the Elf does talk about the modernization of Santa and the over-commercialization of the current Christmas. I mean, current for 2006. But besides, like, a coup to take over Santa, that idea isn't really explored. And really, in the end, it's just stuff that was added for the runtime. I will give this points for acting. Like, pretty much everyone in the cast is just giving their all. They're committed to their part, even though this is completely ridiculous. Especially Chris Kattan, who just goes off as Sparky the Elf.
Look! The sun will be setting soon! You know what? No Santa! That's right! You heard me! He's deserted us! Ha ha! Ha ha! Millions and millions of children are waiting for their presents. You want to break their little hearts? Is that what you want?
The only one who really feels like is phoning it in is John Goodman, although I will give him the benefit of the doubt that he had to wear a Santa suit for most of this time, and they were filming in Louisiana, so that probably was really fun. As I said before, the jokes aren't that funny. There's a lot of references to other Christmas specials.
I should have been a dentist.
And gather up enough food to change Santa's mind.
I got a cousin who's a dentist on the island of Misfit Toys.
And there's a lot of, like, quippy one-liners that they try to throw in there.
Trying to make booty calls on the clock. There's too much booty.
Do you think I can get one of those six-pack app plates that superheroes wear? You know, not that I need one, but for fun.
Life's too short for paperwork. That's my motto.
Whoa. There is one joke that did get a good chuckle out of me, though.
Here you go. Enjoy.
That's all he get is a yo-yo?
That's it. Sorry.
Interesting aside, in the original, the Miser brothers were in two separate places. In this one, they had the idea of the divide, which separates snow misers and heat misers, like castle building things, which was then adopted in A Miser Brothers Christmas, the sequel to A Year Without a Santa Claus, so I don't know if they got the idea from this special, but there you go. The Southtown scenes were clearly just filmed on location in Louisiana, so it was just really hot. And then the North Pole scenes are really the ones that needed help, especially with the painted backgrounds and the few fake Christmas trees that they put up. There was effort, but just not enough. The Toy Expo was a big production. There was a whole set, whole extras, characters that come up later in the movie. But besides that, really hit or miss. All in all, I really enjoy watching this movie. It's one of those, like, so bad that it's good. Not that it's a bad movie. It's a good made-for-TV movie. It's just, there's original source material that it's basing itself on, yet kind of diverges from to create its own thing. I know it's now a classic in the household. We have to watch it every year. It's always a good time putting that on. Some of the articles that came out before its release didn't really give it glowing reviews. From Variety, after largely abandoning made-for-TV movies, NBC returns with this misguided live-action update of a 32-year-old Rankin Bass special, seemingly made for, and perhaps by, those who have hit the eggnog too hard. The result is a peculiar holiday yarn. Can't decide whether it wants to be heartwarming or camp. Christmas sentimentality is surely ripe for satire, but the semi-sour, semi-sweet 2 hours isn't really for kids while lacking adult-level production values or wit. Stirred together, it makes for a dreary porridge apt to leave the average viewer feeling as depressed as Santa professes to be. Someone enjoyed this special, but I really like it. I would recommend it to people who enjoyed the original, people who like watching Christmas specials and Christmas movies. It's kind of a good laugh just to watch this live-action Year Without a Santa Claus. Thank you for joining me on this adventure. I hope to see you another time. Thanks. It was a year without a Santa Claus, a Christmas Eve so sad. It was a year without a Santa Claus, the worst we've ever had. If you can't tell, I really like Christmas.